Okay, my fellow Americans, I'm back with you, and this is a very profound video, and you must pass it on to every Christian, Jew, everybody that you can, and rapidly as possible. Okay, and especially for Christians and Jews, believe me, because I think you'll understand this far above all the atheists and the communists that are out there, which is the majority, of course. Your religions are falling in numbers, falling in concept and respect. What's going to happen when it falls too far? Well, it's either the communism will take you over and discriminate against you, or the Islamics will kill you, or both thereof. So what I'm going to do, I had another one about here, what you should do, in my earlier ones, and it was sent to all believers and Christians and Jews. This one is specifically to Christians and Jews. Okay, I'm not going to come down on Islam. I'm going to let you ascertain. By the way, I'm not a prophet or anything. God doesn't speak to me. I'm nobody special. I have a gift of comprehension. I've had it since childhood. I've had professors and teachers tell me that they couldn't believe how much comprehension I had. I had comprehension above them many times, they tell me. And that's the gift I have. So I comprehend what I've read and studied for 19 years and what I've lived for 63 years beyond anybody else's comprehension. At least I've never heard anybody come to these syllogisms. Okay, so what am I going to do? I'm going to read to you from the Quran and from some of their interpretations from their religious leaders, high religious leaders, American ones, by the way. Okay, here's the first and most frightening one. This is quote unquote. This is from Book 9, Chapter 29. This is quote unquote. And fight those who have no faith in God, nor in the hereafter, and who forbid not what God and his prophet being Muhammad, because that's the only prophet, they consider him the last prophet, and forbidden, and them who are not committed to the religion of truth, which is the only religion of truth to them is Islam, and those who have brought the book until them, pay tribute by hand, and until they are low. And that means they must convert you or fight a war against you. And here's just countless papers, by the way. I have I've copied most of the Quran. It's available on the net if you don't believe me reading these things. And the comprehension of this from the religious scholars are, basically, they feel that there's two comprehensions of this wars, okay? One is that you're supposed to kill everybody that you can't convert. And the other one is, well, you try to, kill everybody that you can't convert, but you have mercy, and only those who attacked you. Well, what's happening? America's been attacking them for years, and it's making it worse with their police actions. Believe me, if they get a nuclear bomb, they will come over here and blow off some city, New York or Los Angeles. Believe me, they will. It's part of their religion. They have to. Or they'll get Islamics that are over here. Okay. Here's more. I'm running out of time already, Where they say that Christians, I'm going to just summarize this, okay? Christians and Jews, especially Christians don't believe in God. They don't believe Jews do either, by the way, but they don't believe that Christians do. And they say why? Because they say that Jesus was just a prophet. And if you believe that Jesus was the Son of God, you can't believe in Allah, which you don't believe in God. So you are an infidel. Don't ever think that an Islamic or Muslim person, which is one and the same, thinks that you're a religious person or anything, or a good person. The same thing with Jews. They feel the same way. Jews don't believe that Jesus was the Son of God, but they stay in the same statement. They don't believe, they include them, because Jews say things about Jacob that doesn't make them believe in God, just as the Christians don't. I'm quoting you. Okay. There are numerous other things. It's just constantly. But let me tell you another thing that they say. They say, this is from Book 8, I think Chapter 60. Prepare against the armies. This is quote unquote. Prepare against the armies and ready your seeds. And you be frightened by God's enemies, and they're your enemies. They equate, if they're your enemies, which you can't convert them, or they're Christians or Jews or anybody else, and of course they're God's enemies. This is a very interesting thing. I read this whole through. I studied this for days before I'm going to put this presentation out. I'm running out of time. This quote unquote. This is from Book 11, Chapter 2. That you shall not serve any but Allah. Surely I am the warner for you from him, the giver of the good news. You know who the giver of the good news was? It was Jesus. And he's even saying this, Muhammad, who wrote this, of course, is saying, you know, he's like, you know, just above Christ. And he's saying, he's warning you from Christ's perspective. This is just, I hope you're listening and learning. You can go on the net. This is all on the net, okay? There's other quotes. I'm running out of time. There's other quotes about ascension to heaven. The only way you ascend in heaven is you believe in Allah and his apostle. And the apostle had the right to pass it on to their religious leaders. Constantly, they say the same thing. Here's another quote: "Praise to Allah, the Lord of all the worlds." Constantly. Here's another quote that everybody from the mosques call them out to fight the infidels. This is from their books. This is from their religious books. Okay, what are you to do about this? I'll tell you what you should do. I don't care what your rabbis, priests, or ministers tell you. You should, first of all, pass this video, and if you want, go on the net and read these things yourself as fast as humanly possible. Get millions of your followers and Jews and Christians that really believe to understand the danger that they're in. Then form groups and go into these Islamic communities. You know, there are close to 6 million Islamics in America. They're almost in every city. In fact, I think they're in all cities, except for out here. They won't let them in here. Pretty wise people out here. Go out and make friends with them. Don't contradict their religion. Get them to come to your church, your house. And then when you have made friends with them, ask them if they believe that Allah is the same God as yours. They'll probably go on and on and on. And if they do, they'll say, well, you know, Allah is really the only God, and yeah, I guess he's part of yours. Then ask them, bring out your Bible and show them the contradictions. They won't know what to say. They'll either strike out at you, or because they're educated, they'll start talking to you and you have a chance to convert them. That's the only thing you can do here in this country. Or you can send people overseas, but they'll just probably be killed. Okay. Now, I've got to talk to you. You've got to start doing this, by the way, right away. I mean, you really don't realize the danger. The other one is because you've got to just do this as a Christian or Jew. You know, both of you are in the same respect, believe in preservation of life. You've got to stop this atrocity of abortions and do it the way I told you before. And let me give you a little clear way to do it. Start out in groups, and get legal permission to stand out in front of them, and abortion clinics, hospitals, doctor's office, whatever, and don't give them a theistic perspective. Don't threaten them, say God's going to strike you, etc. They don't understand that. The three things you must pound home to these people, and maybe you'll get in the news media, is number one, that the people, the lawmakers, are contradicting their own laws. The Supreme Court contradicts its own essence by saying they allow murders. Then they said, of course, well, it's not murders because it's not a child, it's a fetus. That's ridiculous. That's the same thing as saying your child is 12 or 13 years old, hasn't gone through puberty, therefore it's not a human being. It's the same thing. And those first two cells, I'm talking intellectually now, separate, it is a human being. So start arguing that with intellectuality. Also argue, it's very, very important, that they said it wasn't part of it was part of a woman's body. And it isn't, obviously. Intellectually, medically, scientifically, the baby is a baby within an incubator, and the human body is the incubator. It's as simple as that. I don't know how anybody could argue that. And then lastly is they're defeating their own purpose by saying that you can commit murder. So argue with these people and plead with them on an intellectual level, because they won't understand the theistic version. And then maybe you can get them to come to your churches or synagogues, and maybe they can change. Start now. Disseminate this. I don't care what your priests or rabbis and ministers say. It's your duty as a Christian or Jew to preserve life, and you're not preserving it in two ways: abortions and this other blossoming abortion called Islam.